Hello everybody, welcome to the Game Team. I'm your host Brandon Allen, and we have a lot to cover with some huge announcements from San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend, along with other related news. But before we jump into that, let's get to our releases of the week. Star Wars Bounty Hunters being ported to modern platforms with some awesome features like getting to play as Boba Fett. And while Astra's record with Star Wars remasters is a little hit and miss, I think this one's going to be alright. That isn't the only big remaster this week though, as Tomba Special Edition is making its way to PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. If you've never played this PS1 classic, I highly recommend giving this one a look. And that's about it. There wasn't that many releases this week. But onto the headlines. The Screen Actors Guild is seeing actors who work on video games go on strike, with the main reasoning behind this being protection against AI. SAG-AFTRA announced this past week that effective immediately, actors will boycott new video game productions, including titles from Activision, EA, Insomniac, Take-Two, Warner Bros. Games, and Disney. This strike only affects new game starting development now, but current titles being worked on will be affected at a later date if an agreement is not reached in the near future. I am happy to see video game actors getting their due, as previous voice actor agreements did not apply to them. AI continues to grow, and ensuring that some of the most talented people in the industry continue to be paid and employed is extremely important, and I'm rooting for them in this strike. The games industry continues to face extreme layoffs as Bungie was hit with another round of layoffs, following its first round last October. A total of 220 employees were laid off, with an additional 155 moving to internal Sony studios, and another 40 moving to a new Sony studio that is set to work on an unannounced sci-fi project that was in the works at Bungie. Jeff Grubb, a journalist at Giant Bomb, shared that as far as he knows, this is the start of Bungie losing its autonomy and being run like any other PlayStation studio. While the story has always been about Bungie fighting corporate control, I think we all know the truth now. Xbox was holding Bungie back and forcing them to make Halo, so they left. We blamed Activision for Destiny's heavy monetization, but then they left and prices doubled. We can blame Sony for the layoffs, but the truth is, it's probably just Bungie's executives squeezing every last dollar they can out of the studio before they retire. Bungie's always been one of the greatest studios in the industry, filled with some of the most creative and talented people, and it sucks to see this happen after releasing one of the best pieces of video game content this year. I wish all those affected the best of luck, and I hope they can find places that want them and their immense talent. In some more positive news, the Behemoth released a roadmap for what they've been working on. It looks pretty nice. Alien Hominid HD and Invasion are both making their way to PS4 and PS5 after being released on other platforms. But that wasn't it for their classic titles, as Battle Block Theater and Castle Crashers are getting some love. Battle Block Theater is receiving a quality of life update on Steam with some bug fixes, higher resolutions, and a port to modern day consoles. Castle Crashers is also receiving a Steam Workshop update called Painter Boss Paradise, which will allow users to make new bosses. The game will also see redrawn art for everything in the game. The Behemoth's other title, Pit People, will also receive a quality of life update sometime in the near future. As for their future, the company teased that their next game is being prototyped, saying it's not time yet, and teasing what might actually be a time-related theme. I love the Behemoth so much, and if you've never played any of their games, I highly recommend you just go choose one that stands out to you, because they all ooze out so much charm, and it's great to see them continuing to succeed. Tom Warren, senior editor at The Verge, is reporting that Microsoft and Xbox will be delaying Obsidian's Avowed to early 2025. Warren notes that this isn't due to development difficulties, but a busy fall schedule. Microsoft already has Flight Simulator, Stalker 2, and Indiana Jones set for release this fall, and with other RPGs like Dragon Age the Veilguard launching, it makes sense to give Avowed some breathing room to be the hit it needs to be. This is just a rumor at this point, so we'll be sure to update you when this all gets confirmed. And now, welcome to our Comic-Con 2024 recap. And yes, we'll be talking about Marvel stuff that isn't video game related. Why? Because I want to. NetherRealm held a panel at Comic-Con to announce Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns, the Year 2 expansion. The DLC will see 6 new fighters join the roster, with 3 returning Mortal Kombat characters, Anoop Saibot, Sector, and Cyrax, and 3 guest characters with Scream's Ghostface, Terminator 2's T-1000 played by Robert Patrick, and Arnold Schwarzenegger's Conan the Barbarian. The expansion will also see a new story campaign become available, much like MK11's big expansion, with Titan Havoc being the big bad. NetherRealm also revealed that Animalities will be making their return to the series for the first time since Mortal Kombat 3 and will join the game on September 24th alongside the expansion's story release. There's no timetable yet for each character's release, but we will be sure to update you when all that information becomes available. Amazon held a panel to premiere the first trailer for Like a Dragon Yakuza, the TV show adaptation of Sega's iconic video game franchise. The game's protagonist Kazuma will be portrayed by Ryumu Takeuchi, with Kento Kao playing Akira. I personally thought the trailer nailed the vibes of the first game, and with Amazon's track record so far with adaptations, hopefully we're in for another hit when the show premieres on Prime Video on October 4th this year. Marvel Rivals NetEase's Overwatch-inspired Marvel game had some huge updates at Comic-Con. A new cinematic trailer revealed Jeff the Landshark and Thor as the new characters, who are now playable in the closed beta currently taking place. The trailer also gave us a hint at the game's story, with Doctor Doom being the main villain, seemingly getting ready to battle with his own multiversal future variant from the year 2099. During the art showcase, we also saw new Spider-Man variants in Master Weaver and Spider-Zero, who may end up being playable characters. I've been playing a lot of Rivals during this closed beta period and have been enjoying the game a lot. I'm very excited to see a bright future for the game, and I can't wait for the full game's launch to play with all my friends. Marvel Rivals wasn't the only Doctor Doom announcement though, as Marvel Studios made their glorious return to Hall H, bringing a flurry of announcements. But more on Doom in a second. We got updates on Captain America Brave New World, set for release on February 14th, 2025, and it seems Anthony Mackie is going to do a great job carrying Chris Evans' shield. I'd also love to show you this footage of Harrison Ford hulking out as he will be playing the Red Hulk. Thunderbolts with an asterisk, set for release on May 2nd, 2025, also appeared with David Harbour taking the stage in his Red Guardian outfit. While not many details were shared, Kevin Feige teases that the film will see this ragtag group take on a big new threat that may or may not be the Sentry. Fantastic Four was up next, with the Fantastic Four flying into the hall and the cast taking the stage. Marvel's first family is set to make their MCU debut on July 25th, 2025, and there was some footage shared that may or may not have leaked to the interwebs, and as someone who may or may not have seen this footage, the Fantastic Four First Steps looks like it might be shaping up to be one of my favorite movies of all time. The era and aesthetics all look amazing, and it looks like the cast is going to absolutely nail their roles. Plus, Michael Giacchino will be scoring the movie, so that's just another win on top of everything else. Of course, the biggest news of the night was that Avengers 5 is now known as Avengers Doomsday, with Anthony and Joe Russo, the directing duo behind The Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, returning to the MCU to direct both Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. But who's going to be the big bad of the next 2 Avengers movies? None other than Doctor Doom himself, with Marvel's big reveal being that Robert Downey Jr. will be returning to the MCU to portray Marvel's most iconic villain. I don't know how Marvel will explain Iron Man now being Doctor Doom, but the Russos did specify that this will be Victor Von Doom. So I'm very excited and scared at the same time, but I have full faith in this team to make something great. Avengers Doomsday is set to release in May 2026, with Secret Wars set to release in May 2027. Of course, I'll be there day one. And with that, this has been another week of the Game Ping. I do have to announce that we'll be going on a small hiatus of 1 to 2 weeks, so hopefully nothing major happens while I'm away. But when we get back, we'll be covering the sales numbers for July, with NCAA Football 25 probably setting some crazy records and moving the current gen consoles. So remember to click that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified when we are back from our break. I've been your host, Brandon Alanis. See you all soon.